respect. We are bringing technical barriers where they're not supposed to be by virtue of so many protocols. Our neighbors are not just watching, they have taken the market. They have hired our Kenyans are the ones championing their exports. So that I submit, I just want to say this, and I'm glad that Mofam is here. He did a good job. Come on, you can send a video, man. It's good to recognize those who have supported us, to be able to get, Kamau is here, he was able to really help us to get this meeting together, and we want to appreciate. And perhaps with your permission, Banamlango, with your permission, the Deputy President was not here by the time we're doing introduction. If I can just ask the exporters to rise up. This is just a sample of the exporters that are in the room, a sample. Christine has more than 600 exporters on her database. You can be seated. And then we have aggregators, we have farmers, we have everyone. We want to submit to you, Mr. Deputy President, so that I go down and sit. Kindly, let everything that government does not contradicting what we signed under WTO. And most critically, we are in a competitive world. The shipping agent who is coming to speak to you will tell you that if HCD closes the season and opens the season, the reason why we have shortage of the containers is because these people could not place orders for the containers in advance because they didn't know when we are opening the season. And for that reason, the shipping agents cannot bring containers and keep them idle in Mombasa. So it's going to take us another 2 weeks, up to the 1st or 2nd week of April, for us to stabilize. In the meantime, what happens? Our competitors, Peru, when they get into the market, they take over the market. Lastly, please empower HCD with more capacity. Empower KEFIS with more capacity. We don't pay mileage through HCD, but we have to pay mileage through KEFIS. And yet they are visiting the same people. So, Bonapiers, if in your office you can find a way of giving KEFIS a budget so that they don't charge us mileage, we will be happy. And if not, then delegate that responsibility where the budget is. And we have worked very well, this is my tail end, with our embassies out there. A challenge, Madam Miano, the entire Europe, and perhaps fears, and for purposes of record, Kenya has only 2 agricultural officers, attaches, 2. One based in Rome, one based in Brussels, to take care of 27. I was at State House when we were signing the EPA. What do you do with the 27 countries with only 2 officers? And we do not have a trade attaché in Geneva where deals are signed. So if we don't have a trade attaché in Geneva, and Geneva is where business is negotiated, so exactly what are we saying as a country? Could we take stock and say, where do we need these trade attachés to be able to articulate our issues? The officer in Geneva is a good, hardworking officer, but he's from Foreign Affairs. He has to wake up in the morning, move from one meeting to the other. So we submit that we need to have a proper dialogue. And back to my point 1, let's put on hold the implementation of that specific clause until further notice to allow consultation. Thank you.
We have Beth from Mask. Then we have 2 final people to speak on behalf of the processors. Then I hand over the remainder of the session.
Your Excellency, all protocols observed. At Mask, we offer integrated end-to-end solutions for logistics. Specifically for avocados exports, we support this valued industry with an efficient and well-monitored cold supply chain, from pack houses all over Kenya onto the vessel and sail all the way to the final country of discharge. We are here to support this industry amidst a lot of challenges. Right now, we all know what is happening at the Red Sea. And I know two things have been brought up: containers, increased freight. That I don't buy, because we did not increase our freight. But it is a situation which is not at our control. What I'm requesting here today is whatever is in control at the land side, and that is in Kenya, please let us support all the stakeholders, the farmers, the aggregators, the exporters. How? It is taking me about 8 weeks or thereabout, speaking about mask, to bring containers from Europe into this country for us to be able to do the exports. In the past, we used to rush to Jeddah and the nearby places. 9 days, we have the containers. That is not happening now with the Red Sea. So when I speak to my exporters, what they tell us is there's uncertainty. They do not know when the season will be open, so they can't give me the numbers, and a lot of issues. So if only we can support with what we have here, then we can be able to see how we can be able to manage the situation which is not under our control. Now, in regards to the farmers, I would like to assure you, as masculine, we've not just left the situation to go off hard. We've tried our best, we'll continue trying, and we shall make sure that for the rest part of the season, as much as possible, we have the containers that we require in this country to do export. Your Excellency, the containers that we use for export of avocados are special containers and not just the standard containers, which we do not use with our imports. And thus the issue of shortage. We have issues surrounding to processes, and this is in respect to the system management. It has been brought about by, I think Samson brought it out very clearly. For us to be able to take a container from Thika and take it to Mombasa and load on our vessel, we have to comply. And to comply, we mean a lot of documentation and systems processes that we have to work with. Please help us to have systems that are working, so that I do not move with a container all the way from Thika to Mombasa and just get stuck at the gate because of one system which is down and I can't get in. We've had support in the past, but we need the support even much more now, because a unit left with avocados in this port, 1 week, it will be stuck there until we get another vessel. And that will be 1 week added to the already increased transit time, which unfortunately, because of security of both humans and cargo on board, it has to be long. We are using the Cape of Good Hope. Thank you, Madam Christine. You've been consulting us on a lot of decision making. Please consult the shipping lines, because if you consult us, we are able to offer some of the solutions. We operate globally, and as such, we see more. Today, we know when we are booking for Peru, for Mexico, and for Colombia. So if you come and ask me, I'll be able to tell you, the cargo of leaving for Kenya now, for sure, you'll hit the market jointly with Peru. Could you have avoided that? Depends on what parameters you are looking at. But yes, we could. Let's work using the information. Information is power. We at MASC, we are ready to collaborate, work with all the stakeholders, offer information because we have feasibility beyond Kenya. And when we work together, it is for the good of everyone. Every person who have come here has spoken about growth. And growth is only going to be realized if we all work as a team. If we all work and share information from one another, then we can strategically position ourselves as Kenya fruit or Kenyan fruit in Europe and be able to compete, move from the number 6 and come even to number 1. Thank you.
I'm now the last 2 speakers. The processors, Stephen Githaiga, 3 minutes please. You'll be followed by Lucy Jerry. Then I hand over the session to Waziri Chelugui.
Your Excellency, CSEs, present PSEs, other government officials, all protocols observed. I think mine will be very brief. I represent the processors. Processors are the people in the industry who add value. Over and above exporting the avocado, we take the avocados that cannot be exported and process them to oil. We've been given statistics, Your Excellency, that we are number 6 on avocado, fresh avocado export. But for processing avocado oil, Your Excellency, Kenya is number 2 in the world after Mexico. And I can tell you, Your Excellency, I personally see Kenya being number 1 in oil processing in the world, because most of the fruits that our neighbors also produce are ending up in Kenya. We've also been told, Your Excellency, about the industry, the importance of the horticultural industry in this country. But I also want to reiterate without repeating that the horticulture industry is the number 1 foreign exchanger in this country. I stand to be corrected. It's above tourism. It's above tea and coffee. And hence, what I'm trying to say is that we should take the horticulture industry with the seriousness it deserves, knowing that how much foreign exchange that this country requires over and above to the job creation that, that it creates. Avocado is also a high value product, Your Excellency. Currently, compared to other horticultural products, 1 acre of avocado, in minimum, those farmers who are here will tell you that they earn a minimum of 1 million shillings on an acre. Compare it with maize, compare it with coffee, compare it with tea. Some of us are in both ends. You'll see that avocado really contributes quite a lot to the bottom of and above just assisting the government in foreign exchange and jobs. Having said that, Your Excellency, without repeating, as processors and also exporters, we have been told about the challenges that face exporters, but also on the processors, since we export, we're also having a challenge on the tedious and numerous documentations that we have to undergo with HCDA, KFIS, KPA, KRA, and we request that we harmonize the process. Just to give you an example, for example, for you to export a container out of any pack house, whether it's oil, whether it's fresh, you have KFIS, first of all, you have HCDA coming to inspect the fruits. The same day or the same following day, KFIS comes to inspect the same fruits to give you export documents. And worst case, and they are doing a good job, if it's a Saturday or a Sunday, and these are perishable goods, you are stuck with your container in your pack house, and Maersk is there. They have given us a cutoff that the container has to be in Mombasa by Monday or Tuesday. HCDA is not available to do that inspection. So we request harmonization of those duplicated processes. We also have the challenge of closure and opening of the season. Without repeating what my predecessors had said, I think we need to dialogue more on this and even see whether we can get away with the closure and opening of the avocado season. The reason I'm saying this is that every region, Kenya has it has its months or period in the world market. We have to export our avocados before Peru. If it's Peru, they have their own space. They have their own months. So if we get the timing wrong and we open or close the season when other players whom we are competing with have come, then we lose. For information, Your Excellency, maybe they are here quietly, the exporters. Almost 10 of us now exporters have gone to the neighboring country, Tanzania, to export fruits from there because maybe the processes are seamless, and secondly, the issue of the documentation are not as challenges as we are encouraging here in our home country. Coming back to avocado oil processors, we would request if we can be assisted by the counties through the central government. We are having a big challenge on the waste management of avocado oil. So we are having a big challenge because almost 90% of what we process is waste. It's not harmful, but it's waste, and the counties cannot allow us to put that on the sewer lines. So we can be assisted in waste areas where we can be able to discharge that. I think we'll be grateful. Your Excellency, we are also challenged as exporters with VAT refunds. Yeah, all agricultural products are exempted from VAT. But the processing material that we produce, we use, cartons and the rest have to pay VAT and later request for refunds. Most of us here, Your Excellency, unless you're in an EPZ zone, you cannot be able to get those VAT refunds timely from KRA, hence affecting our cash flow, and would request that we can be able to get those refunds timely. Last but not least, Your Excellency, we have reiterated at the beginning the importance of HCDA. What I would request again is if we can be able to make HCDA as an authority. The members of parliament are here, and it's unfortunate that Mama County is, the former Mama County is not available. Madam Chege, she had presented a bill where HCDA was to be an autonomous and be able to get its own board, where even us as industry players would participate in the decision making and the growth of the industry. So if that bill can be reactivated, as we look at the E-Teams bill, if that bill also of getting HCDA autonomous will appreciate quite a lot. So thanks a lot and God bless.
Lastly, Lucy, useme tu kitu ambayo hajasema tafadhali, tusirundie. Karibu.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of Kenya, all CSAs present, all PSAs present, all MPs, members of County Assembly, all protocols observed, na wananchi wenzangu, hamjamboni. I will only focus on one ask, which I think I have to emphasize on. Involvement of stakeholders in key policy making. A lot of these problems that we are addressing here could have been avoided if there was dialogue in these decisions being made. For example, E-Teams. If we were involved, someone would have noticed that if this thing caters across the whole agricultural produce, there might be a problem here. The lack of involvement is bringing us down, is bringing us back to the drawing board. The second one is during bilateral trade agreements, negotiations, things are decided on the table where stakeholders are not involved. Such things affect us. For example, we get a market for China, Your Excellency, but then it is for frozen product. We are not able to do frozen product. We go back to the drawing board. We get a market for China, but it is a market for fruit that needs to be fumigated. The fumigation process affects the quality of the fruit. Again, we go back to involvement of stakeholders in policy making decisions. The last but not least, HCD and AFA, they have a board. I don't know, HCD, we would like to be in their board so that when they're discussing issues that affect avocado, then we can give input to avoid going back and forth. The opening and closing of the season, for example, it is a good thing. We appreciate the effort being made to bring our quality at par with the industry. However, if you close our avocado export season from September all the way until March, and then open it when Peru is starting, really, we cannot offer good prices because we cannot also sell at good prices. If we were consulted as to when to open or close, or even whether it is necessary to open and close, we avoid this whole debacle of going back and forth. Dry matters, you know, we have right now the regulation to have a dry matter of 24. Such issues can be addressed before they become policy, and we can give our input that affects the business directly, it affects the prices we offer, it affects us. But it's because we are not involved in policy making, we are not involved in the decision making, and brings us back to this point. So I'll be very brief. That is my only ask. Involve us. Watuongeni pamoja so that we can make laws that make sense, so that we are able to do things and move, not make a law then go back to change it. Let's move forward without wasting time. Thank you very much. This is a very good initiative, and we really appreciate that you're hearing us. This is part of the involvement that we are requesting. Asante sana.
Waziri Cherugui akija kule kwetu Kirinyaga tunasema kwamba tumaini ya Mungu huisha jiko likifungwa. Kama jiko halijafungwa bado kuna tumaini. Mkiona dijiji hapa kuna tumaini. Mkiona mawaziri kuna tumaini, si ndio? Na mkiona bunge wenu hapa kuna tumaini. Kwa hiyo mengi ni machache, na mwalika waziri wetu Bwana Cherugui tuendelee na hicho kipindi kingine. Asanteni sana.
Haya, tumpatie makofi. Let's appreciate Mheshimiwa Murango. Hiyo imetosha kweli? Asante sana. Ama tumekaa sana, si tuamke tukimpigia makofi. Amefanya kazi nzuri sana. Haya, 1 2 3. Asante. Funga. Fungua. At least tumesimama na stretch kidogo. We can take our seats. Asante sana. I think this is a very important meeting. Do you agree with me? I've heard so many things. Some even new words. Some said, one person said, fighting has no vitamin. I think I picked that one. So we've had so much, and I think we are in good space. When I listen to every speaker here, I hear a voice of concern, a voice of commitment, and a voice of determination to succeed. I've heard from private sector to the farmers, I see a lot of passion. I see a lot of anxiety to succeed. Everybody here feels like Kenya is not in its rightful position. We can go higher, we can grow, we can go better. And that is the desire of this administration. When we talked about value chain approach. When we talked about bottom-up economic transformation agenda, we are talking about specific value chains. We have done some work on coffee, which is also a priority value chain. We have done some work on the dairy sector, and we have also picked on the emerging produce, avocado, and also the macadamia, as we progress the management of our value chain. So to the speakers, I'll also be giving you our perspective, having listened to yourselves and the areas that are still need some support or government intervention. I will be able to give our perspective. So, but before I do that, allow me to invite the Principal Secretary, the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Paul Rono, to also come up here to speak to us from the Ministry of Agriculture perspective. We've talked about production and extension services at the farm level. And these are issues that would need serious attention by the Ministry of Agriculture, and the PS is here on behalf of the CS to speak to us in relation to production. So let us appreciate our Principal Secretary, Dr. Paul Rono.
Okay, thank you, CS. His Excellency the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the CS is present, Honorable Rebecca Miano and Simon Chelukui, members of Parliament who are present here, the whole team of the avocado sector, my team from the Ministry of Agriculture, the team from the county government, and the farmers. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. You know you are farmers, and I believe you are the people who produce food, and I guess there is food after this meeting. Do you have energy? First of all, let me really appreciate this meeting called by the Deputy President, because this is a very rare meeting of engagement. Your Excellency, this meeting is very rare. In our office, we have such meetings, but they are very hot meetings, very hot, because the farmers really need support, facilitation, and they have listened to your government, and they are with us. It's a very rare engagement. My CS sent his apologies. He was handling another critical meeting on fertilizers, and from some voices here, you have heard story of fertilizers, but it's a big story outside, and the CS requested that he remain to chair that meeting so that there is order and direction in that critical program which your government gave directives, and we are on it. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, it is a fact that agriculture plays a very critical role in transforming the economy of this nation and also in the world. And this government, the way you have put agriculture at the top, is a clear indication that farmer voices and all other stakeholders who are participating in transforming this country on matters agriculture will get time, space, like today. This is a very rare engagement, and Your Excellency continue engaging and engaging, because when you came to the sector of coffee, you are able to address matters to do with coffee, and the coffee sector is now aligned. You also went to the sector of tea, and the sector of tea is now aligned. I know, Your Excellency, on matters to do with dealing with the farmers, and based on your directives, farmers come first, because we believe that working with farmers will be able to transform this economy. And as a Ministry of Agriculture, Your Excellency, we have taken this initiative so seriously to an extent that almost twice a week we are outside to really feel these farmers, because the ground is different. We learned that the ground is different. And these farmers, Your Excellency, they need very little facilitation because they are doctors in farming. Then they go to the farm in the morning without telling them to go to the farm. And they till and produce food and change the economy. It is a fact that 70% of our rural employment is from agriculture. And somebody talked about it here, how avocado is really changing the employment sector. It's also a fact that 40% of the average of employment come from agriculture. It's also a fact that our economy, over 50% is agri-based. And that one, Your Excellency, the Ministry of Agriculture and my department, we have taken this seriously to an extent that there is no sleeping. And the language of the farmers is a very simple language. Wanaongea Kiswahili. Wanasema umenunua, umeuza, umelipa, umeenda kwa shamba, umelima, eka ngapi. Hiyo ni lugha yao. Many of them hata hawana digital hub, hawana simu ile mzuri, hawaoni television. They even told us when you are watching news at night, tumelala kwa sababu tumechoka kwa shamba, tulikuwa kwa shamba. But there's something they said when you are in the with my CS, whenever we go around, they normally say dunia imesonga. So tukasema kwa Kiswahili ni kumaanisha nini? Wakasema kama kuna kitu hii serikali imefanya na imekusa mwananchi ya kawaida na hasa mkulima, ni maneno ya subsidized fertilizer. Wakasema kwa hivyo sisi wakulima tumesonga na serikali mapema. So kusema dunia imesonga, kumbe kusema sisi tumesonga na serikali, kwa sababu they really felt that support. And in all our engagement, their language is saying, tukisalimiana wanauliza umelima eka ngapi. Kama uchalima, mkutano inakwisha. That is a farmer. That is how serious they are. And Your Excellency, when you see the long use in the fertilizer, it is that seriousness, engagement, and they have seen what the government is doing. Let me mention something on fertilizer just before I go to this, because I know we are called PS and CSS for fertilizers, because that is what is on the line now all over. Your Excellency, through the directive of the government, the Ministry of Agriculture sat with the county government, because agriculture is devolved, to identify the type, the quality, and the number of fertilizers required by this country for this year. And we ended up in 12.5 million bucks. For the short rain, there are 7.5 million. In terms of really engagement of the farmers and the way the country is seasoned, January to February is the lower counties of Narok, Bomet, Kisii, Nyamira, and the rest of the western. And then come to March onwards up to April is the North Rift region, and then May onward to June is the central part of this country, and then the rest, all areas, is from July going forward. But things have changed. The pattern of the rain pattern have changed, I think, because of prayers. And now there is an influx. Everybody is farming, and that is a hitch which we caught, but we have adjusted. And there is something Chelugui mentioned, and I think someone else mentioned about some challenges across the world, the global on transport, the Red Sea issue. It really affected us. But from the directives which you gave recently and the intervention, we are able now to see within the next 2 weeks we'll be able to solve the problem of the fertilizers and the long queues the farmers are facing. And farmers are also saying some do not get e-voucher, and we have employed 300 casuals through National Cereals and Produce Board to really be in every center to make sure that the fertilizers, the farmers having challenges are addressed immediately so that farmers could get e-vouchers. You heard about the issue of fertilizers for avocado. I think it is an area we have provided fertilizers for all crops, but we can still look at the ingredients, the avocado farmers may need. We could be, if there is uniqueness, because we believe on serious research for every fertilizer we are providing so that they meet the right quality in terms of our soil texture and soil structure and also in terms of our crops. Your Excellency, I think they have, the MPs here while you are away, they've talked and they got a lot of bonga points. They have really moved deep into matters to do with farmers. And from the time we have been in the Ministry of Agriculture, we have received a lot of support from everybody, including the MPs and the county government. It's a very rare engagement. And the farmers' fraternity in groups, in associations like this one, they've been engaging with us so that we solve this problem once and for all. And I like what the MPs have said in terms of looking at the issue of wheat times, because the farmers have come not only for avocados. I know you are farmers for avocados, lakini uko chini kila kitu, kila farmer, especially small scale, have a story. And I know, Your Excellency, government is a house of wisdom. The parliament, the two houses, are also houses of wisdom. And from what they have said, I know we'll sit together and a solution will be arrived at, which will be supportive to all of us. I don't want to talk too much about that. There is something they have been discussed here, Your Excellency, on matters to do with extension services. It is a fact that when